It's true in business. It's true in love. It's true in everything in your life. When you think that it's the darkest day of your life, it means one door closed. And if you stop looking at that closed door, which is very dark, there is nothing darker than a closed door that's been slammed in your face. If you turn around the other way, you'll see there's a big hallway, and another door will open for you. You just got to keep walking and looking for the light. Do you think I would have lasted on a campus when I worked so hard as an immigrant son to become a professor? No, they closed the door in my face. Not because I didn't have the capacity to be a professor. It's because I was a non-designated hiree. And I struggled for many years, and I found I found my place in life. I kept fighting and fighting and fighting, and I wound up in radio. And I struggled to go from being a local host. It took me 6 years to become a national host. You don't think it happened overnight. I had to fight every day. The doors were all closed to me. And every day that I'm on the air, do you think this is something that comes with the territory? I have to struggle every day to sustain my ratings, sustain my intelligence, sustain my message, and not make a mistake that lands me with another closed door. Do you understand that? And so I walk the line, and I walk that tightrope, and I do it because I'm good at it, and I enjoy it. But the fact of the matter is that nothing in life that is worth anything comes without struggle. Nothing. Nothing is given to you. And yet these brats on the campuses want you to give them straight A's so they can go on and destroy the next institution that they go to. They want to go from undergraduate destructive elements to graduate school, and then when they can't make it on a law school admission test, an LSAT, they'll say the test is racist, or they can't make it on an MCAT. They'll say the test is racist because they can't make it into medical school, automatically make them a doctor, so they'll cut your artery where they're supposed to take off a fingernail. That's what you want? You want to go into a surgical ward not knowing who's cutting you because the idiot couldn't pass a test? Is that the world you want to inherit under Barry Obama? That's the world you're going to inherit unless you stand up and be as forceful as I am, shouting down these brats. And that's all I think I want to say on this. So what do you want to do? You want to talk about the insanity of the lunatics, the losers on campuses who know that they're second and third rate and that's why they're rioting? You're telling me a kid in astrophysics is going to waste his time screaming about microaggression? He's going to waste his time, a kid who got into astrophysics, who wants to figure out how to launch a rocket to Jupiter? He's going to waste his time with these wastrels on campus, these losers in departments that didn't even exist 10 years ago, invented departments with no scholarship? Why would he be out there with those losers? It's all a second and third tier group of morons who never belonged on campus to begin with. That's my opinion. That's all. If I had taken this approach when I was an undergrad, for example, I wasn't the smartest memorizer on campus, let me tell you that. I always had trouble memorizing things. There were kids who were far better than me at memorizing books. They got straight A's. I never got straight A's. I had trouble memorizing. I was always a dreamy student. But I didn't say that kids who could memorize better were stupider than me. I didn't say that they didn't deserve their A's. I didn't say they didn't deserve the scholarships. I said, that's the way it is. That's the way it is. They went on and they did what they did. I went on and did what I did. Everyone has their own talents. We're all snowflakes. We're all different. So don't tell me everyone has the capacity of Einstein if only they're given the chance. That's ludicrous. On the face of it, that's idiotic. Go to your football field, idiot. Everyone can play football. How many times do I have to say the same thing to you? You want affirmative action on the football field? And by that token, I should have been a quarterback. I would have dropped the ball before throwing it. But what? When I was screamed, it was microaggression because the other player scared me as he ran at me? Oh, I dropped the ball because he gave me a look. The microaggression made me drop the ball. That's the same thing that's going on in the world of the mind. But you can't talk to idiots who never belonged on campus to begin with. Never. You know, this goes back to arguments I've made for 20 years now. When I went to high school, and I think it's long overdue that we do this again, there were 3 tiers of high school. There was the academic. Then we had, I believe there was a commercial high school where kids who were never going to be in academics went and studied to be whatever it was. I think secretaries or this and that. And then there was the vocational schools. Basically, the kids learned to be electricians, plumbers, carpenters in a vocational school. They worked with tools, and they could become a tradesman. But you didn't mix them all together like suddenly everyone's the same, because everyone's not the same. People have different desires, different capacities. Now all of a sudden, in this homogeneous idiot society of ours, it's assumed that every moron can be an Einstein. It's just not true. It's just not true. Not everyone is made for an academic performance. It's that simple. No matter what you're going to do, you're not going to have the same outcome, no matter how you try. So I think I've covered that topic. You know, it's nice having a multicultural president. It really is. Every religion, every race is not equal. Some are more superior than others. In fact, when you have a multicultural president, some animals are more equal than others. If you read your Orwell, you know the reference I'm making. If you didn't, I pity you. And I never met a Hindu I didn't like, by the way. I've always gotten along with Hindu people, and I've had Hindu friends, incidentally, in real life, real time. And I don't just mean in Indian restaurants. I lived in Fiji, where half the population were Indians and Hindus, and I learned something about the Hindu religion. And I respect greatly the fact that Indian people come here, and in one generation or less, they're winning spelling bees. It's not about that. It's about a nauseating bending over backwards to gush over every religion and every race in such a childish way. Churchill said this: everyone is in favor of free speech. Hardly a day passes without its being extolled. But some people's idea of it is that they are free to say what they like. But if anyone else says anything back, that is an outrage. We all know what's going on in the campuses. We all know who they are. I told you that they are the Red Brigades, the Red Guard of Mao Tse Obama. Be right back.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
The Savage Nation is sponsored by Swiss America, the only company I trust with my financial future. Call 800-289-2646 or Swiss America. The date on the calendar: November 12th. Today is Thursday, so it's 2 weeks to Thanksgiving, right? So already people in America, they're on vacation already. Oh, don't, you'll see, they're taking kids out of school already next week. You know, on vacation already, ski already. They saw snow in the Sierra. I guess global warming ended for the season. You won't be hearing much about global warming for the next few months. And they'll be already on ski vacations. I don't blame them. It's nice to escape. But at the end of the day, the kid has to go out there and fend for himself and make a living for himself. You can coddle your son for only so long. And I got to tell you, again, I'll go back to my upbringing because it was a very tough upbringing, I think. Immigrant upbringing. Father came from Russia. Immigrant. Worked very hard. Was afraid I'd amount to nothing if he left me be too soft. So he drilled into my head and he would give me lessons from Life 101. And it would be from day-to-day life. So if I was walking the street with him, let's say, and a bird across the way in the Bronx fell out of a nest, I would say, Dad, look at the bird flapping on the ground. Why can't you pick it up and find the nest? He said, it's too late. He said, if a human being touches a baby chicklet that falls out of a nest, the adult birds will kill it. Did you know that that's true? Did you know anything about life like this? Did you know about survival of the fittest? And it was harsh, and the kid didn't want to hear that. And then I learned in my own way, it is survival of the fittest. Nothing's ever changed. Now, I understand the liberal credo, which is that we're not animals, we don't live in the jungle, we live in a civilized, humane society, we're supposed to help the most vulnerable. Ah, but there's the rub, Mary. There's the rub, Mary, and I'm not talking about rosemary on your turkey. There's the rub, Mary. Who is the most vulnerable? Those who you have selected for affirmative action, who didn't deserve to be given the positions they have to begin with, and now that they're there and can't keep up, they're rioting on the basis of inventions such as microaggression? Mary, do you understand that there's the rub, Mary? Who is the most vulnerable today? Well, let's see. Where do you want to begin? In the Middle East, the most vulnerable are the Christians, Mary. And what has your Muslim president done about that, Mary? Or the Yazidi women who are being raped and kidnapped by ISIS. What has your Muslim Christian president done about that, Mary? Nothing. So you want to talk about the most vulnerable in America? I would argue the straight white male who wears a cross is the most vulnerable in America today, especially on college campuses. He is being targeted for persecution. The straight white, heterosexual Christian male is targeted for persecution on campuses today. Argue with me if you will, but show me the facts to prove that I am wrong. And so I'm not going to go along with the program just because you want me to. And now we can go on to other topics. College students walk out across country. You know, my answer would be, keep walking, Johnny. You walked out, keep marching, because the tests are still coming due next week. And if you flunk, you flunk, and we're not changing the exam for you. You want to take a walk out, keep marching, Johnny. That's all. But you know that those kind of things don't happen anymore. They want free school now. They want microaggression ended. While they engage in bullying and macroaggression, they want you to stop with your microaggression. To them, microaggression is standing up and saying you're a moron. You didn't belong here in the first place. That's considered a microaggression. I was ridiculed every day of my life in school. Did you know that? It made me stronger and smarter. I wanted to prove that I wasn't what they said I was, so I became stronger and smarter. I have another friend who's one of the best lawyers in the world. He was picked on because he was a small Jewish kid. I can't mention his name. He learned to fight bigger and tougher kids. You know what he learned? He learned that if they hit you, hit them harder. And hit them harder and keep hitting them till they're on the ground. That's what he learned. He's one of the best in the world right now. Is he listening to the show? I hope he is. He grew up in a neighborhood where they picked on him because he was short and Jewish. And he realized then and there, if he didn't fight back, they would have crushed him. He didn't scream, oh, stop with the microaggression. He didn't know about microaggression. He knew about macroaggression. That's all.